So let's go into KiCAD and open the PCB editor. Okay, that's opened up. So let's go to the board settings, the board setup menu, and we want to come down to the net classes. So that's just down on there. And what we want to make sure is that we've got some decent sized tracks, because obviously we're routing these, it's not going to be mechanical. So I've set clearances of 0.4 millimeters and a track width of 0.4 with 0.8 for the power track, so they're a bit thicker. So the next thing we want to do is run the design rules checker. So we just click on run, and then I've got a couple of errors here. This is one track that I just couldn't get through there, and there was not even an easy way to do it with a link. So I thought, well, I'll leave it and just put a bit of bodge wire on there at the end. There's some little warnings as well, but they're not that important. They're just to do with legends printed over the solder mask type thing. So not biggies, we'll leave those. So just have a quick look, make sure everything's okay in the 3D view, always a good tip, I think, to do that. I need to go back and do something on this because there's some keep out areas underneath that Raspberry Pico that I need to put in. And also just want to have a quick look at these gaps that we've got on here. They seem to be pretty much okay, but this is quite a good test. It's a bit more complicated than the one I did before. But the design rule checks worked, and so it should obey those that 0.4 millimeter setting that I had in there. So into the fabrication output menu, and then I'm going to choose the tracks, choose the layers that I want. Yeah, so we'll have backside copper. Don't really need the paste, but definitely don't need the silk screen. But we'll have the edge cuts on there, and then just go round and pick those settings that we want. Now, next thing is to generate drill files. And when I was recording this, I made a bit of a mistake here. So I've left it in so we can see how that goes. But you see I've got the drill origin set to absolute. That's not really what we want, and it should be the next one down, but we'll see where that goes wrong in a second. I thought it's worth looking into. Again, I'm not sure. I think my CNC works in inches. It seems to work when I have it on inches, so I've left it on that for the time being. So once that's done, we can close that and close the Gerber file. Then we need to go into Flatcam. I've got a beta version that I recommend. This is 8.994 beta. Start off by creating the project and saving it somewhere. Give it a name. This board I'm designing is a Firebird database server using Raspberry Pis. So first thing is to click on that Gerber file import, and we'll pull in the, well, for now we'll just pull in the copper Gerber. We can come back and pull in the edge cuts ones. I thought you could select multiple ones, but you don't seem to be able to do that in here. So we'll start with that. Now you see this is where it's gone wrong. So if we look at where the origin is, which is where the two red lines cross, we're on the sort of negative side of that, and it was much better to actually start with the board on the origin. So I'll go back, change that to drill the place origin, making sure that I've set that. You should know how to do that in KiCAD, but if not, we can go over that. Same for the Gerber files, drill and place origin. We need to have that ticked up there. Then we can replot our Gerber files, and once that's done, we can close that off. And we'll save that anyway. Okay, so re-import that backside copper file in my case, and you'll see this time it's come in with the origin where we expect it. Now, so I'll just bring in the edge cuts as well at the same time. And now you can see that everything's come in nicely against the origin where we want it. And then finally, let's bring in the drills. It's plated through hole drills in this one. Probably that's a setting that I should have got a bit more accurate, but anyway, it doesn't seem to matter from a Flatcam perspective. So what I want to do is just move the origin off this because I don't really want to run the drill bit right up against the reference. Okay, so now let's calculate the width of the hole we're going to cut. So we're set up our tip diameter 0.2, and then we're going to try a Z cut of minus 0.5. I actually changed this later to minus 0.1, but just for looking at this. So we can hide the layers that we're not using or looking at the minute. And then what we can do is come into the Gerber object and just double click on it. I clicked on properties and had a bit, but what it was is isolation routing is the one that we really want. Now there's a lot of options and I can't say that I've really got to the bottom of that with the tools. I tried to set up the tools that are in my tool changer, but it doesn't seem to do anything particularly special. But this is the width that I calculated if we have a 0.1 depth of cut with that 30-degree V-bit. There's a lot of things that you can do here, and I haven't really done those. So I've just done it very simply and manually at the minute. But what I will do is put in 2 passes there with a 10% overlap. Climb, I think it's better to use conventional on there. Not sure. Definitely want full isolation, want the whole thing done. And then we click generate geometry. Oh, combine, yes, because otherwise you'll end up with a whole bunch of different ones for each track. So we bring that in, there's our geometry has been combined, and we can turn off the original Gerber file. And these are the paths which the CNC is going to follow. So that all looks pretty good like that. So we'll go ahead and look at, and that's all okay. There's that tool diameter, that's the one I calculated on there, and that's with a 0.1 depth of cut on that. And that's why it's useful to use that tool. I found that I was using 120 millimeters a minute feed rate. It seems to work quite well. 10,000 RPM on the speed, 1 second dwell time to allow the motor to ramp up each time. And the end move, just left the defaults for that. So next thing is to go and generate a CNC job, and this is pretty much what you can see here. And that's it really. Just save the CNC code out on there. If we look in closely, we can see that there's actually 2 tracks. That's the overlap on there. So that path gets doubled up. That's to give us that 0.2356. Oh, sorry, the 0.4 millimeter spacing with a 0.232536 diameter or width of cut on there. So there you get 2 tracks to get the 0.4. Then we go into the CNC CAM package. It's a bit convoluted. I need to use running under Linux. It runs under WineOK, but it doesn't scale, so I have to use a VNC viewer to look at it. And then we just bring in the file into there, and we can have a final look at it before starting the CNC job. Yeah, it looks okay. That's the greens are the paths. The red lines are just the moves. It comes up to about 2 centimeters in between the moves, and off it goes. Oh, there is one thing on my CNC. It doesn't like the tool change and the M6 to be on different lines. So we open up the NC file there and just have a quick edit of that. Once that's done, we can save that off, re-import that file into the CNC software, and then we should be able to just let it run. Yeah, I'll run a preview just so we can see it. That's not there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bug on here. It doesn't bring up the play button unless you start tipping the thing around. So off it goes. These are not the edge cuts. I haven't processed an edge cut file. Flatcam actually does that. It routes that board outline on there, just to give you an isolation round the edge of the board. Obviously, if it's on a bigger board, you want to have that isolation on there. And then we just speed up. Off it goes. That's about it.